Very good morning to you all. Hope you're doing well. This is the COT data video for the week beginning 23rd of December 2024. Obviously, we've got Christmas coming up, and there's going to be like a really super thin liquidity, and so there won't be, there shouldn't be like huge moves next week. But the only issue is that if we have like this big risk event that's sudden, we have to be a little bit careful because the algos that trigger from news events, those keyword algos, might cascade, and there won't be many bankers at their desks to monitor that activity. So we have like a scary news event. We could have like an algo really pump, and it might trigger other algos. And so the thing is, when a scary news event occurs in normal time, there'll be like a human element there to control it. But if the bankers are away and they're at home, then it's really down to the computers. And so we have a scary news event. It may cause a little bit of unexpected volatility. We already had a very volatile week with the VIX. We absolutely pumped, and then it got dumped on Friday, which is yesterday. So we've got to be careful. I don't think any scary news event will occur next week. I can't see anything happen, but you never know. So we just have to be careful. And do note that while the indices, we had like quite a dump this week, we have to remember that they are very much trending higher. And so these dips probably should, be bought. They should be buying opportunities, really. It's kind of frustrating because it would be nice to have a really big pullback in order for us to buy, but we're trending higher, aren't we? The thing is, if we are going to be risk on, we have to remember that these risky currencies are actually sell. So this in itself is sort of suggesting that we might be risk off next week. The New Zealand dollar and the Australian dollar are sell. They herd along. However, they're short the dollar and the Swiss, which could be regarded as safe havens. I'm not really sure the pound is so much of a safe haven, but it's down there in the buy section. They're long on these two. Be careful with the yen, gold, and CAD. Maybe be careful with the euro. They are short the euro, 41%, but we are kind of close to the 50%. So what will happen? Come to Discord, and you're going to click that file. And then we're going to come into your downloads, and then you're going to come to what you need to do is right click it, and you're going to come to properties, and I might need a new computer, I think. Then we need to unblock, apply, okay, and I'm going to double click it. Now Christian was saying there's a huge move on the Australian dollar. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. This is the first time that I've seen this, so we can go through it together. And you can see how slow my computer is as well. It's the same. And we're going to need to enable the content. We're going to come to the chart page, which is here. Remember, this looks at hedge funds and comms and non-comms. And it's got loads of cool charts and stuff. So there's the euro. So let's right click that. Move chart. We're going to call it net non-comms. The reason I'm doing this bit is because you have to remember to unblock net non-comms. I can spell it then. Right, so you can see the euro has fallen. Had like a bit of a reaction there after lows, 75,000 to 65,000. So an increase of 10,000 contracts. The dollar ticked higher, so we're back into positive territory. So be careful with that. That could stretch. That could go higher. And we had that diversion on the Euro USD. So obviously that was the Euro USD sell opportunity. You would have maybe caught that. And so there's the Euro being sold off. So you're looking to sell the Euro versus the USD at that point. Okay. Let's look at the yen. And slightly 25,000 to, it might not show us, as it does, 5,961. Positive, but we had a bit of a dump. We had a 20k contract dump. And it looks like we're going to have the dollar yen buy. Look, can you see? we're going to probably get the dollar yen buy here. And it may be the case where the dollar yen pumps like crazy and then the BOJ are going to have to intervene again. So you could be careful with the yen, okay? But that's looking like a UJ buy. So let's take off the euro, put on the Aussie. Let's see what Christian was saying. There's that big move. Huge move on the Aussie. And that correlates with the bubble. Minus 61,000. So all have got a little bit choppy up here. But you can see the Aussie is definitely weaker than these two. So that goes in, it aligns with the bubbles that we had a weak Australian dollar and we had a weak Australian dollar on the COT. Okay, Aussie off, pound on. This will probably tick lower because the BOJ changed their GDP forecast for Q4 and they anticipated a 0.3% growth, and they've actually said it's actually going to be no growth. So that's quite gloomy for the UK economy and probably quite bad for the pound. So we'll probably see that tick lower, and this could have been waiting for the BOE. Remember, this data, this COT data, is from Tuesday, and the BOE was on Thursday. So this kind of tells us that the big fish were waiting for the BOE. You can see that they just went sideways on that blue line, which is the British pound. So I will think that may tick lower, but we'll have to wait and see. CAD on. CAD's just flip-flopping down here. Very heavy and erratic. And we're back there. We just went sideways, basically. So, yeah, but, there's the CAD yen trade there. If you wanted to take it back then, in August. So it's just sideways on CAD. Gold maybe sort of faltering a little bit at the highs. We made that head and shoulders pattern. If you spotted that from a few weeks ago, we aren't able to get above that high, so we may just be either consolidating for a move lower or perhaps consolidating for a move higher, but I think that may hold. And the US yields also pumped a lot as well because of the uncertainty. If the US yields rally very strongly, it can hurt gold prospects. So we have to keep an eye on that. I think maybe more sideways, potentially down. I'm not sure, but we've definitely got that resistance up here, and that's the all-time high up there. Okay. Gold off, then New Zealand dollar, and yeah, we fell. Remember the bubbles, the New Zealand dollar was a sell on the bubbles, and that correlates to the COT data. They herd along while the banks are shorting. Okay, so that's that. We've broken that range finally. We just chopped sideways for all that time, which is crazy, and now we're breaking below that range now. So this in itself could be like a risk-off sign, because this is like quite a risky currency and it's been sold off by the banks, and so is the Australian dollar as well. So we may be risk-off next week if we look at FX. Then we'll look at the Swiss franc, and we're just sideways on that. And so that wraps up the last COT data video. Any likes and subscribes would be cool. And that's it. I guess I don't need to waffle anymore. Remember, we've got a free 2-week trial for the sheet. If you want to join, let us know. It might be an idea to sign up perhaps in the new year, because we're going to be really quiet for the next 2 weeks in the FX market. So it won't be a good demonstration, a good trial of the sheet. But if you want to have a look at the sheet, but you'll be, completely welcome to. I won't mind at all. It might even be a good idea while the markets are quiet. So yeah, you can join us if you'd like. You're more than welcome. And the Patreon link is in this YouTube video, but the sheet is free to trial for 2 weeks. So you can do that if you wanted to. You'd be more than welcome to. And that's it. So remember, these should probably be sell, and these probably should be buy. Be careful with these in the middle, and we could see quite a bit of chop on these four currencies, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with the pound as well, because that BOE forecast about the GDP. And one last thing before I wrap up this video: if you're trading the pound, do keep an eye on the euro pound. That spot, that pair, needs to be monitored, because the euro pound really dumped. And if you're trading the pound, say pound Aussie or pound Kiwi, you're wondering why it just acted really strange and it just surged. It's because of the euro pound dumped. All right, so it might not necessarily be because of the pound Aussie, for example. Just like for example, it could just be because the euro pound, it really fell, and that caused the pound to surge. So it surged against its peers because of the euro pound. So be sure to be checking the euro pound if you're trading sterling, right? And that's it. So last COT daily video. I wish you a lovely weekend, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And I'll speak to you guys soon.